guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here for the AEW Dynamite review on Off the Script. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020, and we are only 2 days away, 2 more nights away from AEW Double or Nothing, their biggest pay-per-view of the entire year. This year it's going to be a little bit different than the inaugural Double or Nothing. We're in the middle of a pandemic that nobody can help. But AEW has done an excellent job at not only the empty arena shows, but they've done an excellent job as far as the build for Double or Nothing with that big Canadian, I was going to say Canadian Stampede because me and Jesse just got done watching the Owen Hart documentary, and I was just reminiscing on some old Owen Hart matches and just a lot of things coming out of that dark side of the ring, which I think we'll touch upon today as well. But that Stadium Stampede match, that's going to be just a big event coming out of Double or Nothing. It's going to be a great show. AEW's got a lot of great shit lined up for Saturday night, and we are going to get you ready like Off the Script can only get you ready here tonight and then again on Saturday, man. We got a big Saturday afternoon lined up for you. I will be live around noon on Saturday afternoon. We will do the preview and predictions for Double or Nothing. And then on Saturday night, I myself will be live on YouTube going over the actual pay-per-view event right after the show goes off the air. So it's going to be a big, big week right here on Off the Script. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Please follow me on social media, man, at JDfromNY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up. It definitely helps out the video. Get into the recommended section here on YouTube. You guys are doing a great job at that. The Monday Night Raw review did almost 2,000 likes on Monday, so thank you guys for that. If you want to support the podcast via Patreon, as always, never an obligation, but always there if you guys want it. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. And if you missed anything that I've uploaded this past week, everything you need is linked down below. The Monday Night Raw podcast on Off the Script with the greatest wrestling match ever that they will inevitably fail at, which I think is a big troll job by Edge and Randy Orton at this point in the game. I don't really understand it, but I'm sure we'll rant on that come Friday's episode of Off the Script even more. If you guys want my thoughts on that and why I do not think they will ever live up to that hype, make sure you guys go and check that out. SmackDown review is there. Off the Script from last weekend, episode 326 is there. NXT Live with Ticket Drew from last week is there. Everything you need is linked down below in the description. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Audible. I know you guys are listening to the AEW podcast here on Off the Script, and Jim Ross is the man behind the microphone at AEW. You guys can go get his new book, Under the Black Hats, on Audible for absolutely free. audibletrial.com/offthescript. So make sure you guys go and do that. We'll shout my good friends over at Audible out a little bit later in the show, but today's podcast is brought to you by them, audibletrial.com/offthescript. I will keep him waiting no longer, folks. I'm here with my boy Jesse, and we are going to talk about Dynamite. Jesse, what did you think of the go-home show for Double or Nothing tonight, headlined by our boy Sammy G, Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy, and then the build to that big Stadium Stampede match on Saturday night?
What's going on, everybody? That's an awesome show, wasn't it?
I thought it was good. I mean, AEW has been doing their thing. Can't really shit on them. They aren't perfect, but that build for Double or Nothing and the go-home show, I think it exceeded expectations tonight.
Yeah, I think it did well. They touched on pretty much every match, every feud. They gave you a rundown. They showed us the field and everything else. We saw the Bucks. We saw Hangman again. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great go. I can't wait for the pay-per-view, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. Moxley looked great tonight. He was in action against not number 8, not number 9, not even number 7. I don't even think there's a 7. But number 10 of the Dark Order, he was in action tonight. Obviously without his AEW championship because it is being held captive by the Dark Order's Seth Rollins. Oh, I'm sorry, Brody Lee. Brody Lee. Now, I made a joke about that on Monday. Do you think that Seth Rollins is ripping off Brody Lee? Or is it just me?
No. I don't think he is actually, but I think one of your fans on Twitch called it earlier. I think he is ripping off somebody.
Who, Rollins?
Yeah, Seth is. Yeah, man.
Who is he ripping off?
Have you ever played Far Cry 5?
Oh, yeah, I seen it. What's his name? Joseph Seed. And Dark Order, fucking all this shit. Far Cry 5. I never played it. But I looked at it. The resemblance is there. It's just more in the beard, I would say, because Rollins and that main villain in Far Cry 5 is, it's just very prominent with the beard. That's just the way I see it.
Forget the look. I played the game.
You played the game? I didn't know that.
I played the game and completed the game. I still have it. It's not just the look. The look is similar. I can deal with that. It's the entire gimmick. All of it. The voice, the mannerisms.
You know what? Now that you mention, I'm gonna have to go and watch them. Like, they got cutscenes in the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta go look at some Joseph Seed cutscenes in Far Cry 5.
Yes, whoever pointed that out, if he's listening today, that's a good call because that is on the nose. That is exactly where Seth got that gimmick from.
That's interesting. I don't even know if Seth Rollins is a gamer. I don't know if he's a gamer or not. So we'll have to figure that one out. I gotta do some research on that. That's whoever. I think that was someone on the stream today. Next, I believe his Twitch name was. So we got to look into that a little further. So I have something new to shit on Seth Rollins for. But we'll talk about that a little later. We got Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake Roberts tonight in a face-to-face before their men go head-to-head at Double or Nothing. Cody and Lance Archer for the TNT Championship. First ever TNT Championship will be on the line Saturday night with obviously Iron Mike Tyson being there to present the championship belt to either Lance Archer or Cody Rhodes. And then, like I said, Sammy versus Matt Hardy. Then we had the ladies in action, Hikaru Shida and Kris Statlander versus Nyla Rose and Britt Baker. And then our boy MJF, as always, doing his thing against Marko Stunt. Orange Cassidy versus Ray Fenix. So we had a loaded show tonight on the Go Home show for Double or Nothing. But guys, before we get into the actual Dynamite show tonight, I know it's all over the news. It was all over your Twitter feeds. If you're following a ton of professional wrestlers in the sport, today they found the body, and they identified the body of Shad Gaspard today off of Venice Beach. And he, unfortunately, in just this tragic, terrible story, passed away at the age of 39. And I know I talked about it on Monday Night Raw and how just heartbreaking the entire story was. And we read on the Raw review a first-hand account of somebody who posted on Reddit who was legitimately there and seen all of the activity happening that afternoon he had gone missing. And it was just unbelievable just reading it. And then he was found today, thankfully. And I posted earlier today because it was legitimately the first thing that I woke up to. I'm so happy that he was found in this just terrible accident, because it brings his wife, his son, and his entire family the closure that they needed for this, and they could honor him as the man that everybody in the wrestling industry, came out today and said he was. And Roman Reigns, I think, had the most powerful tweet out of everybody, and, he quote tweeted what he told the lifeguards before anything happened: save my son. And Roman Reigns actually reiterated that, and how unbelievable of a human being and how honorable of a man he was. Jesse, what did you think when you read this story? Because I know I sent you the NBC Los Angeles news article this morning. What did you think about the story? What are your thoughts on it? And what do you think of the outpouring of love and support for somebody who pretty much gave his life to save his son on that unfortunate afternoon?
It's tragic. And it really is. And we're living in a time right now where it seems like everybody is just ignorant to each other with social media. We're living at a time where we get bullies and politics all around, and everybody is just mean spirited, it seems. And from all accounts, from what I can see, this really, really, really was a true life superhero. And um, it hits closer to home than it feels like it should for some reason. I mean, we all saw the reports and saw the stories about how he stopped an armed robbery. We hear how much of a great family man he is. And when I saw the reports that the lifeguards actually reached him first and he denied being saved and told them, get the hell away from me and save my son. And that's exactly what happened. And then he sacrificed his own life to ensure that his son lived. I mean, if I had to take a dictionary and look up what a hero would do, it should be exactly what happened to this situation. It was extremely disturbing, and um, I hope one day I could be a father, half as much of a father as this guy. This guy seems like an amazing person, and it seems like he was it's taken too soon. And my heart goes out to the family and friends.
In his death, he left this unbelievable legacy that I honestly think people will remember forever. Does he get nominated for a Warrior Award going into the Hall of Fame, or is that something that you thought about? Because I know I was brought to I was given that piece of opinion today by a couple of people. Does WWE honor him for his act of heroism on that afternoon in the WWE Hall of Fame with the Warrior Award?
You know, JD,
I know it doesn't
honest.
matter, but that
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a topic of discussion.
I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna say it in the broad picture of things. It doesn't matter. And I'm saying that because I had not thought about it for a second. I'm not sure what I think about it now, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. I mean, and especially since we know how they ultimately treated Crime Time, to see them praise him now would just seem kind of just backhanded, I guess. I mean, if they do something great, I mean, he
To be
deserves it.
fair,
He does.
I absolutely agree with you on that. You've seen Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H all come out on social media and say all these gleaming things about him. Meanwhile, he wasn't really a focus on any of their shows at any given time with JTG in Crime Time. But I feel like they almost had to, because of all of the outpouring of love and support that was pretty much, coming at WWE. There was no way they were going to be able to ignore it. They had to do it, even though they might not have wanted to do it based on who it was. A little graphic on Monday night or Friday night would have sufficed for these people, but they had to come out knowing what he did. They pretty much were forced to come out and say something about this guy.
Yeah, and they should. A graphic, you put together a package maybe, but don't overkill it. Don't sit there, don't. Okay, now he's a Hall of Fame inductee. Now the Warrior Award. Now we're gonna name this part of the arena after. Chill out. You guys did not cherish him and honor him that much when he was in your company. Don't go overboard now. But he does deserve the respect of a promo package, a mention, and some good kind words. I mean, but they weren't very nice to Crime Time, but that's not here nor there. It's not about Crime Time or WWE. It is not to the slightest. But again, it's just completely, and maybe this comes at a really bad time for me and everybody else after watching the Owen Hart situation revisited by Martha and Oj, and it I don't know, man. It just seems like a really gloom and like a saddened time to be a wrestling fan right now.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of not only with the shows being as depressing as they have been, some have been better than others, and the whole pandemic that's going on right now still, that's just altering our daily way of life. It's just a dark time, not only for the world, but for professional wrestling as well in 2020. Being that we mentioned Owen Hart, and you just mentioned Owen Hart, I've seen a lot of people with divided opinion today, all these many years later, about Owen Hart. One of the best ever in my honest opinion. I'll never forget where I was when he kicked Bret Hart's leg out of his leg, and I loved everything he did with Bret leading up to WrestleMania 10, leading him to win the King of the Ring in 1994. Just an unbelievable story, one of the best stories that WWE has ever produced on their television programs. Owen Hart and what happened on that night at Over the Edge. Again, I will never forget where I was. I was in my bedroom at my mom's house. We were watching, me and my brother, Over the Edge. We had the illegal black box because everybody had it back in the day. Don't criticize. My grandma got us the illegal black box, and that's how we watched Over the Edge. And, it was just something that I really didn't know at the time. And the impact of it now is much harder than it was then, because I now understand what was going on, and we now know the full story. And we heard Martha Hart on Chris Jericho's podcast. We heard Martha Hart on Dark Side of the Ring last night. The big topic of discussion is Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame. He will never be in the Hall of Fame, and that is her wish. Do you agree with Martha Hart and her stance about Owen Hart not being in the Hall of Fame, and with the outcrying of just the community split 50-50? Some people think that she's wrong for what she did. Some people think she's right. Where do you stand with Martha Hart? In all honesty, I am with her. I would never put Owen Hart in the Hall of Fame, knowing that his death could have been prevented on that night at Over the Edge.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as the fan in me, obviously would love to see Owen inducted, but the people need to think about something. Owen Hart getting inducted for the fans is very, very heart-wrenching for the family. It's not what they want. So the more pressure that the fans constantly put on them to have Owen put into the Hall of Fame, guys, just keep in mind that it's tearing Martha and the family apart. It's not what they want. It's not. It's this. If they wanted it, it would happen by now. If you want to support Owen and his family, go pick up one of his T-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com, because that's the best way to support. Or go support the Owen Foundation that they're doing. But it's not what they want. It's never going to happen, and I 1,000% agree. Nobody can sit there and tell them how they should feel about Owen going into the Hall of Fame. They did not go through this tragedy like she did. And I got to say something else. She prevailed through. She prevailed. She furthered her career. She furthered her education, and his kids have grown up to be phenomenal adults. So whatever she deems to be necessary and right, I believe in her, and I'm following her.
2 successful children, right? With what was her daughter's name? Athena and Oj, right? 2 successful children, great mother. She's a doctor herself. She set up the Owen Hart Foundation in his honor for the man, the human being that he was, which she wants people to remember him most by, which is absolutely, something that she believes in the most. And I don't really disagree with her stance on distancing herself from the Hart family, because that entire family, even now, up until this very podcast that we're conducting here tonight, the Hart family is still in the WWE, and she didn't want her children to be around any of that, knowing that the company that he worked for and the company that the family is affiliated with and associated with is going to be affiliated with, no matter what. She didn't want her family around that anymore because of how heartless and careless they were with her husband. And I absolutely stand behind her 100% on that. You can't tell her how to raise her children after that type of incident. Just like how everybody cannot sit here and say, oh, Becky Lynch can't get pregnant, and have a child and be a mother. It is their decision, the best decision that they are making for their family. So whoever says anything about her making the wrong decision in that moment, take a step back and shut your fucking mouth. Honestly, that's the way I feel about it. It angered me on social media to hear these people, going against her. How fucking dare you? Really?
Yeah. The people, I can't explain it. I don't know what to say. People are so selfish sometimes. They want what they want, and they just have zero regard for the family.
Everybody had so many great things to say about him. You know, you guys want to relive Owen's legacy, you guys can do that at any time. I do understand where Brett might be upset, where he wanted his brother's wrestling legacy to be, looked upon and cherished and idolized, and on a platform where everybody can, celebrate how great he was in the ring. But all the stories we heard about Martha and what she talked about with Owen, and how, she was on Chris Jericho's podcast and said that, he was kind of hesitant. He didn't even want to, go and be a pro wrestler 100%. He did it because he was, the family was in it. And he did it because, it's tough to pull someone away from something that they're excellent at. And Owen was excellent at wrestling, right? Everybody knew he was great. Everybody told him he was great. So, when someone hears that, it's going to be that much more difficult to pull yourself away from that. And he just went because of how everybody looked at him in that specific role, But I don't know, man.
Yeah, I heard not that long ago that another huge reason that Martha wanted nothing to do with WWE at the time of his death, or at now, was the way that Vince handled the Brian Pillman situation with his widow. When you remember, because when Brian Pillman died, they had his wife on TV, like just on Raw, just interviewing her and everything else. And Vince started just grooming her and asking her questions. It just seemed like these questions were designed to help alleviate him from any kind of wrongdoing in a lawsuit. It was really strange how if you go back and take a look at the circumstances and the television around Brian Pillman's death, when Vince was trying to address it and everything else, it seems like he was tiptoeing and being very careful about how he mentioned it, because he was in fear, and he was in fear that Brian Pillman died from an abuse of HGH or things like that, things that Vince may have had a part of, allegedly and potentially, and he was afraid that it was going to come back on him.
Yeah.
And that's the way it sounded when he was asking her questions, like, oh, who would have thought this? It's kind of one of those things. Nobody's at fault, right? It was so sad. It was so pathetic. And he was not in a position to interview the widow of a dead wrestler that he employed.
No.
And it was sad. It was so sad. And Martha wanted nothing to do with that. So and I don't blame her.
How do you feel, before we move on, because I know a lot of people, they're here for AEW, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. But one more thing in regards to Owen. What do you think about what Chris Jericho said? As far as, a lot of people did. I mean, even then I didn't understand, because I was old enough to know, at that early stage of the game, what was right and what was wrong, what I didn't like, what I did like. Owen Hart as the Blue Blazer, I didn't like, I never liked. I thought it was cheesy. I thought it was beneath him. And when they brought it back, I was very disappointed, because that's not the Owen Hart that we want to see. It's not the Owen Hart I remember back in 1993, 1994, 1995. It's not what I remember. But what do you think about what Chris Jericho said if this did not happen and Owen was still with us, and the resurgence of his career possibly being a thing with Eddie Guerrero coming, and Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Edge, and Christian, and all those guys, all those really great pro wrestlers, coming into the WWE and kind of changing the game and changing how WWE operated their in-ring product? Do you think Owen would have had a career resurgence like Chris Jericho said, not only on Talk of Jericho, but again on Dark Side of the Ring last night?
No, absolutely, he would have. That's a style he would have easily adapted to. And I got to tell you, I disagree with you. I love the second coming of the Blue Blazer. I loved it. I didn't like how they hid Owen behind the mask and in the Blue Blazer outfit in the original run, but I was a huge fan of the sarcastic backhanded Blue Blazer return, where it was obviously him and sometimes it wasn't him, and they had Steve Blackman come in, and then they had Jeff Jarrett come in sometimes. I thought it was hilarious, especially for the time, for the things that were going on then. Now, yeah, if they put him in the outfit and tried to pretend nobody knew who it was, yeah, it'd be lame. But they kind of they played along with it, and I thought it was hilarious, and I did. and it got Owen on TV and in prominent roles. And yeah, I mean, I do agree with Jericho that when they came, that mask would have come off. The wrestling gear would have come on, and he would have been involved in that same group. I mean, in phenomenal 5-star matches.
It's something that I wish we could have been a part of, but man, what a documentary! Just hearing Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, on that night again, all over again. It was, it made me tear up. It really did. I didn't ball out, cry, but I remember when I was watching the product back in the day when it did happen. I bawled when Steve Austin came out on the Monday Night Raw after Over the Edge, and the entire roster was on the stage, and Austin was on the turnbuckle, and he toasted to Owen, and you've seen a big picture of Owen on the Titantron. That's when I completely lost it. But
yeah, I was 22. I had an apartment about 5 minutes from where I currently live right now in Oak Forest, Illinois. My first apartment I was living with my girlfriend, and we were watching the pay-per-view. I had a friend over, and I told him to come watch a pay-per-view with me because he never watched one before. I said, he might have some fun and come and watch it. They came over, we all watched it, and when it happened, we were just kind of wondering if this was part of the show, but it did not take very long to realize that it was serious. And no, I didn't tear up at the time. And I did tear up when I saw the evening news that night, because on the local evening news, it came up how Owen Hart did die in the show, and I think it hit kind of home to me there. It was I don't know. It just was not a good time, and I think this documentary resurfaced all of that. I mean, as it should, because we did get to see a lot of things that we didn't get to see before, and I'm like everybody else that's saying the same thing. When we see those photos, those file footage photos, it's heart-wrenching. You see the blood stains on the mat. You saw the view from the catwalk down to the ring. Yeah. That was too much. That was too much. You saw Martha go to the catwalk herself.
I know. That was. Bro. I had no idea of that, but that was unreal.
My God, man, I feel for her and what she had to go through, what she had to endure. And then 10, 20, 15 years later or whatever, she still has fans harassing her to let Owen into the Hall of Fame. Please,
fuck
guys.
those people.
Please.
It's the wrestling fans are the most. I don't even have a word for the dumbest fucking people on the face of the earth. Some wrestling fans are really the dumbest fucking people on the face of the earth. I can't stand the stupid fan out there. I see it and hear it every day, not only with situations like this, just with what I do here. They feel like they have the world, or they should have the world coming to them, and everything that they do. They want something, they feel like they should get it. It's like, give me a break. Give me a break. This is a fucking human being and a wife at the end of the day, and you're over here starting shit, and you want something because you want something without any regard to how she feels or what the family's feeling. Give me a fucking break. Same thing with Becky Lynch, like I said. But the wrestling community is cancerous. We all know that. Stay off Twitter.
Yeah, to put a cap on that, guys, learn to separate wrestling and real life. They are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
It is not real life, people. Twitter is not real life. You're arguing with other people. You don't have any idea who the fuck they are. Please, stop it. Anyway, what we do have an idea of is AEW Dynamite. Let's get into the show.
Yeah, good stuff.
We got the Inner Circle arriving outside of Daly's place. Alex Marvez, this goon, Alex Marvez, approached them with a microphone before they even got out of their limo. Jericho, baseball bat in hand, said, if you think what they did to Vanguard 1 last week was bad, wait until you see what they do to the Elite tonight. Marvez asked what their plans are. Santana Ortiz and Guevara and Jake Hager all collectively gave him a hard time. I think Ortiz even stole his tie clip and said, I could sell this for some good money. I doubt Alex Marvez has a tie clip that's worth anything. He probably got it at fucking Macy's for $2.99. But The Inner Circle ready to do damage here on Dynamite tonight. We opened with Brody Lee leading number 10 to the ring. So he had the stolen AEW championship in hand, by the way. Other Dark Order members were out there. I know I asked you, Jesse, and I was thinking about it too when I was watching the show tonight. The Dark Order is really missing Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. What did you hear about their whereabouts, and why aren't they with the rest of the Dark Order on Dynamite?
Well, apparently, I was unaware of this, but there is a global pandemic going on.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
And Becky Lynch, man, I didn't. Did you know she was pregnant?
Whoa. I didn't know about a global pandemic. I didn't know about Becky being pregnant. And I also didn't know that Britt Baker was a dentist.
Oh, my goodness, man. You know, dentists, the majority of the dentists in North America, man, they may be out of business. I might have to call up Britt Baker to pull a wisdom tooth when I need it.
Oh, God. She can pull something for me, but I don't know. Tooth.
So, where Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, man, where are they?
They, the last report, I believe, I want to say it was Canada. I know Evil Uno, I believe he was in Canada, and he's having travel restrictions. And I think everyone in Canada is having travel restrictions, if I'm not mistaken. I think Bobby Roode is also stuck in Canada.
You know who's not having travel restrictions from Canada? Brock Lesnar.
Who's that? When you're Brock Lesnar, there is no restrictions. You got a private jet in the airport in your backyard. Why not? You know?
Yeah. But, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, travel issues. I actually wondered that tonight as well. The Dark Order still looks a little intimidating with Brody Lee standing there, suit and all, with the AEW Championship. He addressed the fans, quote unquote, in the Daily's place. Babyface wrestlers were shouting out that he stole the belt at ringside. Brody asked them to be quiet as adults were speaking here. Brody yelled at 10 to take a proper knee. He didn't, and then he yelled at him, please take a proper knee like I told you to, so he did. 10 had 10 hash marks on his chest. He told viewers that they think he cannot relate to them because of his stature, but he does sweat, and he does put on pants the same way that everybody else does. He said he is not a god, he's not a messiah, but rather a man. He looked at the AEW title belt. He said he operates on an elite level, and the Dark Order are the lions of AEW. He pointed at the belt and said the results speak for themselves. He said the way he inspires his wrestlers also inspires him. He said he has to win to satisfy his hunger and desire, but also pay off the loyalty and love of the men who follow him. He told 10 he always knew he was special, and he handpicked him. He said this is his moment to shine. He declared him a high knight of the Dark Order, and he told him to go hunt for Jon Moxley. And Shivani said and uttered, okay, I was right. This is indeed a cult. So Jon Moxley versus number 10. And this one went the way you guys would expect it to go. Moxley got the win in about 5 minutes. But minus that, disregard that, 10, Jesse, I'm going to say, I never seen him in the ring work before. I don't know if he was on Dark. You are an avid watcher of Dark, so you can fill us in on that. But this is my personal first look at number 10. He looked pretty solid out there tonight against Jon Moxley, and he is very physically fit. So he looked pretty damn good tonight.
And it's always looked good, and you would know that if you watch Dark.
Yes, I know. Fuck Dark. I don't watch Dark, people.
10 is there's a, and you said there's a 10, there's a 9, there's an 8, all the way down to Evil 1.
Yep.
All the way down to Evil 1. Also, you missed something. You called Marvez a goon earlier. That is false because Ortiz called him a nincompoop.
Oh, yes. That's right. I forgot that. That wasn't in my notes, but yes, he did call him a nincompoop, yes.
He is not a goon, so apologize for that.
Can we mix him up? Can he be a nincompoop goon?
No, man, he's a nincompoop, not a goon.
He's just a nincompoop.
That's it.
I should have his job, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he should.
Anyway, Moxley got the win in 5 minutes. Moxley with a devastating paradigm shift for the 1-2-3, and that was pretty much it. Moxley, after the match, put 10's arm in a chair. Moxley stepped on it. He was about to Pillmanize his arm, and he was not sure of what Brody's strategy was when he stole the AEW championship, but as he sees it, he's trying to punk him out. He said he won't chase him around backstage and look like a geek is what he said. Said he's giving him 10 seconds to correct his mistake or he's going to break 10's arm. He asked him, like, one might talk to a dog if he's a special boy. He was like, oh, look at the little special boy over here. And Brody's obviously, taking a liking to Mr. Number 10. Brody appeared on the big screen and said Moxley has made his bed and now he will have to lie in it. He said all he has to do, or all he had to do, was ask, and he would have delivered the AEW Championship back to its rightful owner. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's when Vince McMahon says, or that would be like Vince McMahon saying, oh, yeah, we're going to get a great Monday Night Raw tonight. No, we're not. And Brody Lee was never going to give back the AEW Championship. He told him to look into his eyes tonight because he meant business, but now Moxley has made it personal. He said for tonight he's leaving. He walked away with the other Dark Order members and left the building, ultimately sacrificing number 10 to Moxley, and then Moxley then bashed his arm with the chair, breaking his arm, quote unquote, and then he said, see you on Saturday, and that was it. Solid segments. Everything seemed to build towards the match on Saturday, even after tonight and the go-home show. Does your opinion, I guess we'll talk about it on Saturday, but might as well mention it now, does your opinion stay the same or has it slightly changed in regards to the outcome of this Moxley-Brody Lee match for the AEW title on Saturday?
What do you mean he wouldn't have given the title back if he has? Has he ever lied to us once?
Does he look like somebody you could trust?
That's not the question. Hey, he gave, I like it. He gave Mox some of his own medicine. If you would have asked, I would have given you a shot. Maybe he wouldn't have. I don't blame him. Take his title. Screw him. I don't blame him.
Being that he's been very loyal and loving to his servants, maybe I would have asked him. Maybe I would have actually taken a chance and asked him to see what he would actually do. Just being that how he has acted on Dynamite, maybe he would have given the championship back. I like that.
Maybe. Who knows?
I like
but
that.
He was an a-hole, so he didn't get it. Now he has to fight for it. And no, man, there's no way I see Brody winning this. And they kind of booked themselves into a corner, but I don't know about that anymore now. Now it kind of feels like it's okay for Brody to lose one. But there's no way he was ever gonna win. But a few weeks ago, it did seem like he was in a spot where he shouldn't be losing. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Now it seems like he's been built up enough and okay enough to lose to the world champion and still be in a good spot. He came off very well tonight, Brody Lee.
I think he's handling this role well as the leader role. I think his promo tonight was very good, and I gotta ask, man. I enjoy Rollins in the heel shtick. I do. Brody Lee is somebody that I have wanted to see get an opportunity because I do think even at his age he still has a lot to offer, and I'm loving what he's doing so far in AEW. He's a really, really just top-tier talent for them to pick up from WWE. A talent that WWE obviously didn't want anymore and underutilized. But who do you think is playing the leader role, the cult-like leader role better, Seth Rollins or Brody Lee at this point?
I would love to be, the AEW mark that I am, but I mean, to answer your question right now, it's Seth. Right now, Seth is killing it. And if anybody who do not know, I'm not a Seth mark. I mean,
none of us are here. We all share.
Yeah. But the new gimmick is growing on me. And that seems to be mostly due to Seth and how he's carrying it out because he is playing it out very well. I particularly like how he stayed in his new gimmick all the way through Becky's pregnancy announcement. Because in case you didn't know, Becky is pregnant. All right, so when everybody else is breaking character and congratulations, Rebecca and everything else, Seth is ramming Rey Mysterio's eye into the stairs. I love it.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. It's very difficult to find a talent that is going to maintain that level of dedication to a gimmick. It is rarely seen nowadays, but I got to give Rollins a little deduction on points because he did post, obviously, when Becky had made the announcement, he said on Instagram, I had been holding this picture for a couple of months now, and he posted a picture of Rebecca not wearing any makeup, and she was holding up the pregnancy test, and it was positive, and, obviously that doesn't really fit the Messiah gimmick all that well, but he had to at least get some sort of joy and express his happiness at some point over this big news. But as long as he maintains that level of dedication to it, I think he's got a good thing going there on Monday Night Raw.
No, it's fine. That works. Instagram and Facebook doesn't count. You got to stay in character on Twitter.
Which he does not do good at all.
Well,
he should just stay off Twitter.
No. Here's the good thing. He's doing so well in his new hero role. This is now the time to get on Twitter and be an idiot like he's been before. Because now it fits his gimmick.
Yeah.
Before he was doing it as the top babyface in the damn company.
Yeah, I agree with that. I could see that.
Free.
But will he do it well? I don't know. Well, with Becky being home for 9 months now, maybe he can learn some lessons. He's like, hey, yo, honey, I need some Twitter tips, please. I'm gonna go get you some fucking mint chocolate chip ice cream, but I need something in return over here. You know?
Nah, we don't need tips. Just give her the login so she can get on the computer while he's at work, and she can handle his Twitter account.
Yeah. That's an even better one. Yeah, that's the solution right there.
Yeah.
MJF, guys. MJF.
Oh,
the
yes.
next AEW World Champion with Wardlow
Yes.
versus Marko Stunt. This was an absolute child massacre here on Dynamite because this is what we love to do. This is what we live for on Wednesday nights. Marko Stunt being beat up by MJF. This was nothing but MJF toying with Marko Stunt, taunting him, just berating him over his size and how terrible he is. Stunt got a couple of, comeback spots because MJF was playing with him and he got cocky. So Marko Stunt left himself, with some offense. So he got a nice shining wizard on MJF. MJF trapped Stunt in the ring skirt off the apron. Wardlow interfered as MJF was distracting the referee. MJF won quickly with a shoulder breaker, and then he submitted him with the salt of the earth. MJF, after the match, cut a promo on Marko Stunt, and then obviously, he's getting ready for Jungle Boy on Saturday night. MJF asked for the microphone. He said Marko lasted longer than anyone thought he would, so he wanted to let one of his rats in Jacksonville give him a kiss. He said that he remembered nobody in the world would ever touch Marko Stunt's lips. He said he'd give him a different kiss, and I thought he was going to say, you can kiss my ass, but he said, you can kiss this ring, and he punched Marko Stunt with the AEW Dynamite ring. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy then charged out for the save. Ross said he was a spoiled brat, was MJF. Excalibur says he's the scum of the earth and not salt of the earth. You better watch your fucking mouth, Excalibur, before I do something about it. And MJF yelled at Marko, and he yelled at the fans at ringside, Marko sucks. And that was the way the segment went off the air. They did tease, Jesse, a showdown at some point, because it was mentioned on commentary. We got Luchasaurus and Wardlow being teased by the AEW commentary team. Is this something that you're looking forward to between these two monster of men?
Absolutely. I want to see it, but I don't want to see it right now. I think they need to do a little bit more work with Luchasaurus. Because right now, if they put them in a ring right now, I just want to see Wardlow kick his ass. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm blowing up your spot here. I know you told me something, and I think it makes a good topic of discussion here because Luchasaurus has a big part in the show on Saturday night. He's going to be in that ladder match. Obviously, a great platform for everybody to see what the big man can do. Hopefully, he gives us more of an inside look of what he really could do. But I know you told me away from the show that, and I absolutely agree with you because it's something that you brought to my attention and I didn't really think of when I was watching him wrestle for the last couple of months, but I absolutely see it when you mention it. Luchasaurus has got to do something more than what we have seen out of him. It's the same spot every single time, and I know, wrestling, and wrestlers in the industry, they get into this phase where they come up with, sequence of moves that we see every single match. And, they get the hot tag and we see them do their shit and get their shit in. Luchasaurus really hasn't done anything since I believe you and I were in the suite for All Out. He absolutely set that place on fire in that 6-man tag that opened the show. We have not seen that Luchasaurus since then. And what does Luchasaurus need to do to kind of get to the next level in AEW?
Yeah, I agree. Like, We've seen that Luchasaurus that we saw that one night, but the problem is we just keep seeing the same Luchasaurus. His like you said, his spots are repetitive. All his big spots, all his hot tags, they're starting to run together now. I mean, it's what else is he bringing new to the table? The same bicycle kick, the same standing flip. I know he can do more. I've seen him do more, but he's just sticking to the same spots that are popping the crowds, and they're popping the crowds much less. And now that he has less time on TV because of everything going on, I think when they get him back on TV on a regular basis, he needs to, not even just him, but maybe it is just him, because Jungle Boy seems to be just as over as he was before, but because he is still on TV right now. But Luchasaurus does need to change things up. I don't want to see a breakup. I don't want to see anything like that. But just the in-ring work can use some help, and that's it. They can polish off the gimmick with Jurassic Express, because I don't, like I said this a long time ago. I don't know what happened to the push. He got injured. It was a small injury. He came back from it, and then they just put Jurassic Express on the back burner since that injury. I don't know why, but I think it was a mistake. They should have won the tag titles right away, but they didn't, and then the injury, and now they're just gone. And now they're putting them up against Wardlow, and right now Wardlow has more steam and more juice than Luchasaurus does.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I want to see it for sure, and I don't know what they have to do with Luchasaurus. I think the tag team is pretty much set between him and Jungle Boy. I think they're a very solid act. Absolutely would still love to see them get into the thick of things with the tag team championships. I think we have not seen enough of singles Luchasaurus. We've seen Luchasaurus in tag team elements. We've seen Luchasaurus kind of be that big bodyguard-like in Jurassic Express. We haven't seen Luchasaurus just be Luchasaurus away from Jurassic Express. So that might be a situation that we could look down and say, you know what, maybe it's not totally his fault. He definitely is one of those acts in AEW that needs desperately, just like Orange Cassidy, the crowd interaction and a live audience, because I feel like there's nothing special about him without that type of environment. And I hope that he can get some solid shine on Saturday night. Now, the only thing I didn't like about this situation here with MJF and Jungle Boy and all this stuff happening here was we didn't really get Jungle Boy to, vow any revenge or vow to MJF, I'm going to kick your ass on Saturday night. He was just out there. He chased them away. And Wardlow was the one who actually shined because, Jungle Boy came in from behind. It's like, the fuck are you going to do to me? He just pranced out of the ring on his own time. He wasn't scared of nobody. Even when Luchasaurus came up on him, behind him, he just backed away like, bro, you really gonna I dare you to touch me, bro.
He walked away like a stud. He's like, I choose to leave this ring.
Yeah, I'll leave the ring when I want. What are you gonna do?
Love it.
So that's something that we're looking forward to on Saturday, to see Jungle Boy get some shine, Luchasaurus get some shine in that ladder match. So, like I said, it's going to be one of those things I keep under the microscope for sure. Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake Roberts, they were in a sit-down, one-on-one. This was a UFC-style, I guess, what do you call it, pre-match interview between the two cornermen, Jake and Arn. Shivani hosted the segment. Ross said this is the makings of a classic or an absolute car wreck. Arn and Jake sat on opposite ends of a long table, and it was more done for social distancing, folks, not because they wanted to give you a UFC-style feel, but that's neither here nor there. Shivani stood back between them, offered them a chance to talk. Jake went off and did his own thing. Jake said, it's almost surreal to sit across the table from Arn Anderson. He says he's surprised he showed up alone. He said people have dreams and people have nightmares, and they're usually not real, but Lance Archer is real. He said Cody has sacrificed his own brother just so he wouldn't have to face him. He said he'll now have to come face to face with the truth, and the truth is Archer, and Archer is a mean son of a bitch who's going to rip out Cody's heart. Those are the words he said, folks. I'm not adding any JD-isms here. That's exactly what he said. He asked if this weekend, or this is Arn Anderson's weekend pass from home, noting that they haven't seen Arn Anderson in a couple of weeks, or a couple of months rather, and Jake said, "Arn, you're looking a little thick over there." Arn said Jake almost made him believe it. He said this is surreal for him too. He said it was a dream match for many to imagine Arn and Jake battling it out. And if this was Saudi Arabia, Vince would probably book this in Saudi Arabia, Jake versus Arn Anderson at Crown Jewel. He said they are two guys that if they said a pissant couldn't pull a freight train, you hook it up because we're called credible. He said he can see evil permeating from Jake. He said that used to frighten a lot of people. He said he was a killing machine, or he has a killing machine. Jake interrupted and said he's been to hell and back, so one more trip with him wouldn't be so bad. Arn asked him to repeat it. Jake said anytime, any place. Arn said he would love to do it. So Arn brought up Iron Mike Tyson presenting the TNT Championship to the winner. Word is he's also going to be one of those guys that has free reign around the entire building. He can be on the floor, he could be in the bleachers, he could be anywhere he wants. So he'd be honored to share the floor with Mike Tyson. He asked if Jake plans to throw his snake on Tyson. "How's that going to turn out for you, my friend?" he said. Jake asked whatever he throws at Tyson, he will take him down, but promised Archer the first shot at Mike Tyson, which is possibly a seed planted for something on Saturday night between Lance Archer and Mike Tyson. He said he can do it too. Arn said Cody looked at him in the eye and said he isn't going to win the TNT Championship because it means better seats at restaurants, better pay, and more adulation from fans, but because he needs it. He told Jake not to interrupt him. He said he is one of the leaders of the company who has turned the industry upside down in just 1 year. He has earned this match. He then told Jake he's nervous because he's a vicious prick. He asked if everyone knows Jake is actually still doing DDP yoga. He said that's good because he wants him to be limber when he spine busters his ass and shoves his ass where the sun don't shine. Jake tipped over the table in anger. Jake then shoved Tony Schiavone for whatever reason. I think Tony's a punching bag for a lot of people here on AEW. Several referees ran out to keep them apart. Wrestlers and personnel in the crowd were yelling, let them fight, and Jake obviously left the ring. Clearly, this was not a train wreck like Tony Schiavone had possibly said it could end up being. But, Jesse, all I will say is this, after that long, detailed look at what Arn and Jake said in this face-to-face tonight, this is the power of managers in pro wrestling. I love it. I wish WWE would go down this road and do something like this. And I feel like we all said it. Managers are one of those things of the old school that would fit perfectly in the new school if utilized right. WWE legends are being used better on AEW than they are being in the WWE. And this is managers being used to the utmost just perfection in AEW.
Yeah, we learned that when they brought in the Rock and Roll Express early on and how they used them in the right way instead of having them come in and, beat their tag champs or something. This segment was great. I loved it. Two small issues with it. And just small. But one, and I asked this last week, what are they doing here tonight? Just coming out just to talk crap. I think it could have been a contract signing. These guys represent each other's, prospective wrestlers. Why not come out and have the representative sign the contract and then have the same interaction that they had? So then the purpose of them coming out was to sign the first contract for the first TNT title match and everything else at the pay-per-view. It would have made complete sense. But otherwise, we just put a table out here, 2 chairs for these 2 old guys to come out and talk crap to each other. What was the point of it? And the other small thing I didn't necessarily understand was you get Jake out there throwing just all these insults and everything else and these threats like he was going to fight. We all know he can't take a bump. We all know he can't even do a DDT. So the threats of physical violence just kind of make no sense to me. It would have made more sense for him to come out and say, well, something along the lines of, well, you're lucky that, I'm not able to come out and, beat the crap out of you like I normally would, but don't worry, Archer will do. You know what I'm saying? You keep telling us about, oh, I'll come over and I'll flip the table over. And what are you going to do, man? We've seen you on, your documentary and on DDP Yoga. We know that you're not going to do anything like that. And AEW caters to the smart fans more than anybody in wrestling history. So we all know that Jake is physically unable. So quit telling us that you're going to come out and do something, that you're going to beat up Mike Tyson, you're going to do this to this guy. You're not. I mean, and I get it, but it just would have made more, it would have given it a more realistic feel. We're out here to sign this contract. This guy's talking crap only because he knows that I can't come over there and beat him like I want to, but that's okay. My guy will do it to your guy on Saturday. It just would have had a more genuine feel. So, but I don't want to make that seem like I didn't like the segment, because I did love it. But I just would have added those two things in there to make it a little bit more perfect, just for me and my standards, though.
Contract signing would have made a lot of sense. I'm with you on that. It should have been something more than just Jake and Arn talking shit to one another, and obviously about Saturday's co-main events for the TNT Championship. But what if... Now, I'm not completely certain about Jake not taking a bump. I mean, obviously we can see that he's not in the best shape to do that, but maybe he delivers a DDT to Arn, and then maybe Lance is the one out of the duo who gets a nice stiff right from Mike Tyson. I don't know. So maybe Jake does something to Arn, and then Mike Tyson does something to Lance? You think, or no?
If Jake can deliver a DDT, I'd be shocked. I can see him delivering the DDT, but I'm afraid that seeing him get up off the mat will just be too cringe for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Once he's down there and see him trying to get up, it'll be like, no, you shouldn't have done that, man. No.
Yeah, better safe than sorry in this case. And just let Cody and Lance, and then obviously whatever role Mike Tyson is going to play, which we all know he's going to play some sort of role in this match, play, and leave it at that, and we'll see what happens on Saturday night. Probably the match I'm looking forward to most is that one, because that one could honestly go either way. It could go to Lance, it could go to Cody, but I'm still leaning towards Cody to get his revenge on what Jake did to Brandy, which he did mention tonight. It wasn't in my notes, but he did call Brandy a bimbo, and he said that he would love to almost kind of defile Brandy Rhodes again like he did the other week with the snake. So
he was pretty much saying he's gonna give her his snake or something.
Yeah, pretty much. He said he was gonna give Brandy his snake, and then Arn said keep it in the pants. Which is great. It's just great television.
It's so good.
Anybody that's triggered over that, man, I mean, get over yourself. It's just great pro wrestling. It fits into the realism of the story. It brings a little bit more realism on Cody's side into the match, which we all knew this match was going to be the finals anyway before the tournament even got underway. So instead of having it be that just overly predictable situation, why not bring some, added realism into it? I love it. I think it's great.
What do you think? Let me ask you this. What do you think we're more likely to get? More likely to get Mike Tyson actually beating up somebody, or Edge and Orton giving us the greatest wrestling match ever?
Mike Tyson and Lance Archer are going to do something. I don't know what it is. Randy Orton and Edge are absolutely never in a million lifetimes going to deliver the greatest wrestling match ever. I mean, I'm going to rant on it on Friday, but it is a slap in the face to all the fans. Yeah, honestly, I do think it's a troll. Like you told me, I do think it's a mixture of both. I do think it's WWE, giving them a second chance, because everybody in the fucking company knew the match was terrible at WrestleMania. And I do think that it's a rib on the fans between Orton and Edge, because everybody that shit on the match, they obviously disagree with the fans, because the fans don't know shit, because they're not pro wrestlers, and they're ribbing the fans. Like, haha, you want to say my match sucks? Now we're going to give you the greatest wrestling match ever. Let me see you fucking bitch and complain about it on Sunday night at Backlash. I hate it.
Yeah, it's not good.
Anyway, what we didn't hate, we got something that AEW did and corrected themselves from the previous week. I know you mentioned it. The less we hear from Darby Allin, the better. Darby Allin had a great promo, no words spoken. Poker was being played. I love me a game of poker with a nice cold beverage. And he was sitting with people in masks representing all of his opponents at the poker table in the ladder match at Double or Nothing. He then showed himself setting a card on fire. Then another scene transitioned to where he was standing on top of the ladder, and he was partially on fire. This was great. I love it. More of this from Darby Allin.
More of it. He said more in that promo where he said nothing. In the promo where he did last week where he said a bunch of stuff and didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad. I mean, the guy, and he's not in the league by himself. There are plenty of extremely talented wrestlers who are just not good on the stick. It's fine. Get them valets or keep them away from the mic, but don't continue to give them a microphone and let them bury themselves. And you see this week, they let him create. I bet you Darby is 100% behind all of his promos like this. I bet he is.
Oh, I guarantee it. And I know for a fact that those promos are filmed either at his home or in the backwoods behind his home. Because I know for a fact the Lance Archer, if you remember, the Lance Archer promo that or the vignette where he was in the backwoods with a big ring and he was wrestling all these unknown guys and just mowing them down one by one, that was actually in the backwoods behind Darby Allin's house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm pretty sure you're right on the money with that one. We also seen a vignette from Pac tonight, a returning Pac. This was awesome. He was looking through a photo album, laughing about what he was looking at. He said he'd been forced to sit at home and weather the storm before, but not again. He then laid his eyes on Orange Cassidy and called him a cocky little prick. He said Rey Fenix is an assassin who will tear his little snout off and send him to his maker. He then set a picture of Orange Cassidy on fire. Love it.
Love it.
Absolutely love it. This led to Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix in the second hour of AEW Dynamite. Man, was this fucking fun. Rey Fenix beats Orange Cassidy in about 12 minutes. This was all over the place. Match began, and Cassidy did the hands in the pocket spot. Fenix cut him off with a springboard. Actually, before that, he did the pockets, and Fenix did a springboard leg drop, worked over Cassidy's head and neck with strikes and a chin lock. But in the middle of the hands in the pockets, Jesse, I believe Orange Cassidy did somewhat of an arm drag, and he did a slingshot, all with his hands never leaving his fucking pockets. Guy is incredible.
It's amazing, and I would love all the detractors who can't stand his gimmick and everything
Cornette.
else. I didn't say any names. That was you. I don't want them to block me. I've been blocked by enough people in wrestling. I don't need any more. And let them see this match, because I'll admit this is the most work I've seen Cassidy do in a match. And for the people, that's, and I was included, that say that Cassidy can't get over in a wrestling match without the fans. This match, I think, kind of changed that, because he worked, and him and Rey Fenix worked extremely well together tonight, and I loved it, every bit of it. And put that in front of a crowd, he'd be even more over than he already is.
I said that tonight myself. Imagine this match in a full AEW Dynamite setting with no pandemic. I mean, this would have been fucking fantastic. And this was the other match besides the one he had with Pac at the pay-per-view, where he did the most work. And the one thing I loved about this match with Rey Fenix, there was never any comedy spots. It was 100%, 12 minutes, all the way through, Orange Cassidy taking this shit seriously, but still playing that Orange Cassidy cool as the other side of the pillow character. I thought this was great.
Yeah, there was comedy spots, but I like how there were only comedy spots from Cassidy's side. Fenix was trying to be serious the whole time, and Cassidy took his spots and tried to turn them into a joke, and Rey would get pissed and try to do something, and Cassidy would take advantage of that mistake because he's pissed. I thought it was phenomenal psychology in a wrestling match for those two. I loved it.
Fenix remains in control, and then we went to a commercial break. A lot of in-picture commercial breaks. Tony Khan actually thanked TNT before the show tonight and said thank you for all the picture-in-picture commercial breaks, because they were live tonight, and they wanted to really sell the point of Double or Nothing for Saturday. Cassidy fired up with some palm strikes. He did a Superman punch that Roman Reigns wishes he could do. Cassidy hit a tope suicida, high cross off the top, which looked beautiful. Tornado DDT, unbelievable spot there for a near fall. Cassidy hit a diving DDT off the top rope for another 2 count. Fenix hit a sunset bomb off the top for a near fall. Fenix went for his spinning muscle buster finisher, but Cassidy rolled through into a cradle for a near fall. I honestly thought that was the end of the match. I thought they were going to give this one to Cassidy. The finish then saw Kip Sabian, super lame, Kip Sabian come out to the ramp with a ladder. He stood, or sat, I should say, on top of the ladder. This distracted the referee. Fenix hit a low blow. then used a cutter for the pin. So we had the SCU guys come out and pretty much tip the ladder over. We had Kip Sabian fall into the ring. There was a big brawl with everybody in the ladder match on Saturday. Jimmy Havoc came out of the crowd and defended Kip Sabian. He went after SCU, Fenix. Then, unbelievably, Jesse, he did a fucking double turn springboard moonsault or senton, whatever the fuck he did off the top rope. Everybody was on the outside. They were all looking at him for about a good 5 seconds. Fenix dove on. I don't know if he undershot or if everybody in this pile of human beings is to blame here, but Fenix did a senton, springboard senton off the top rope and absolutely bounced off the mat as if he was a basketball. Absolutely some scary stuff. Nobody caught him. He bounced off the mat. The referee Rick Knox, I believe, was the referee for that. He immediately went over and attended to Rey Fenix. He was completely taken out of this shit. From what I was looking at on social media, he walked out on his own, thank Christ. But man, that was some scary shit with Rey Fenix.
Yeah. I went back and I saw the where it went wrong. It was Phoenix's mess up. He undershot. The guys were actually in the right spot. They were further back because the danger was the guardrail. The worst thing that could happen is Rey overshoots them and hits the guardrail. So they were further back to ensure that Rey was not going to hit the guardrail. But he didn't come far enough, and his legs were the part that reached the group, so his back landed flat.
Yeah. That's some scary stuff right there. He did walk out on his own from what I read. That wasn't the only scary spot in this thing. Colt Cabana ran out. He springboarded with an acai moonsault onto the pile of guys at ringside. Best Friends then lifted Cassidy, who flipped onto the crowd outside, or all these men outside, and he took a big dive as well. He hit his legs or his ankles on the steel barricade on the way down. A lot of craziness here before the ladder match to sell the ladder match. They also showed Sean Spears watching in amazement from the distance. Best Friends leaned Cassidy against the ladder. Cassidy raised his arm and did his thing for the ladder match on Saturday night to sell that he could possibly be the one winning the match Saturday. So really fun brawl, some scary stuff. Great match between Rey and Orange Cassidy, and it was some good stuff on Dynamite. Man, we go from good to downright terrible. Now, I don't know how much of this you watched or if you went back and watched it, but Kris Statlander and Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose and Britt Baker. This was absolutely the definition of sloppy. It was an uncoordinated mess, and everybody was pinpointing one portion of this match, and apparently Nyla Rose was picked up and then dumped on her tag team partner in this match, Britt Baker. I think Statlander and Shida picked up Nyla Rose and launched her senton style into the corner where Britt Baker was laying and landed not on Britt Baker, but solely on Britt Baker's leg. Everybody was saying that she was hurt. Everybody was saying the match took a turn for the worse because she was hurt. But then I heard some people on social media as well were saying that Britt Baker was kind of not wanting to be in this match, and she was avoiding being in this match at all costs and actually working with Nyla Rose as a tag team partner because she wants the AEW Women's Championship, so she was playing up her heel character. Maybe she was selling an injury to take herself out of the match and leave Nyla Rose all by herself. Nobody knows if Britt Baker is hurt or not, but there are 3 other women in this match. Nyla Rose, who I think has come pretty decently along as a credible women's champion. Hikaru Shida, which I think is the best female talent in all of AEW. And you got Kris Statlander, who has her moments where she looks great, but she also looks green as grass in the ring. But there are 3 other women in this match. I don't give a shit if Britt was hurt or not. The match was sloppy, and I don't like when I don't like when people defend the women, which we all know is obvious garbage on AEW television, and the weakest part of their television show. I mean, I don't know if you went back and watched it, but the match was bad. Bad.
Yeah. I like where they're going with Nyla. I like her entrance. I like her slightly altered look. I like how she is presented right now as champion. I did miss most of this match dealing with a family issue. I came in at that terrible bridge spot at the end, and it looks so bad. And when I told you that I missed the match and everything else, and you told me how bad it was, I didn't want to go back.
Oh, here we go. Wrestling Observer is just now saying that this appeared to be a storyline injury with Britt Baker and not a legit injury. So there you go. There you go. She got taken out of the match and everybody was an uncoordinated mess. So whose fault is it now? So everybody on social media defending this shit. Britt Baker's not hurt. What's your excuse now?
Just not hurt. I mean, and again, I've never been a fan of hers. I mean, I think that she's doing, I don't want to say great. I think she's doing a good job bringing her heel gimmick along. I mean, promo-wise and everything else, I think she works well with Shivani. But in ring, I think she still needs a lot of help. I mean, the last week was the first match I seen from her in ever, where it seemed to be there was some improvement. And tonight, it went away. I don't know. I just don't think that she is worthy of the amount of TV time she is currently getting right now. Not yet. She's not there yet.
I'll tell you what, man. You know, Kenny Omega, I love Kenny. I'm a big fan of his vision and his dedication and the passion he has for his art. But, you know, we all know that Kenny has been very high on the women's division. He's got a lot to say in regards to what happens in the women's division. But if it continues like this, AEW is going to have to go out and get some of those WWE talents that were released, whether it's a Sarah Logan, whether it's a Deonna Purrazzo, whether it's a Tana Conti, go out there, maybe Tessa Blanchard, if she's still a free agent by the end of the summer, go out there and get her. You know, whoever else is out there, make some strides to make that division better. You know, I was thinking, who was pretty much predominantly in charge of producing women's matches outside of I guess Sarah Del Rey in AEW on the main roster primarily? Was it Fit Finlay? Was it not?
In AEW, Sarah Del Rey is in
WWE.
Yeah. I don't think that they have necessarily someone who predominantly does women's matches, at least not on the main roster. Maybe in NXT, as a Sarah Amato and them, but on the main roster, I think they just get producers like anyone else, like whoever the producers are for the day. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think they have specific producers for their matches. But I don't believe they do. But nonetheless,
I think I read somewhere that Fit Finlay was predominantly, you know, when there's a women's segment or a women's match or big time women's match, he was always part of the producing process for their matches. And I know he was one of the officials that came out when Becky Lynch had won the Royal Rumble, you know, and he made the ultimate decision to do that. Of all people, he was the one who came out and said that Becky Lynch could go in there and take Lana's spot in that Royal Rumble in which she won before she won the Raw Women's Championship. Maybe they got to go out and get somebody like Fit Finlay, who is someone with some knowledge and some history, I guess, in producing, and kind of move away from Kenny in this situation. What do you think?
If there is one particular person producing the women's matches for WWE, then they need that person or someone like it. And maybe it's not the producing of the matches as well. Think about it like this: if all of the female talent in AEW were hitting their marks right now where they wanted them to, would it still be good enough? I mean, because who do they have? We got Big Swole, Hikaru Shida. I mean, at no level was Shida ever predicted to be someone that would be great on the microphone with kind of great charisma. She's great in the ring. She's phenomenal in the ring. But with that being said, they know she needs help on the personality side of it. You get Britt Baker. They know she's green. You know, they know that they need help. If everything was going the way that they thought that it should, they would still need more women in the AEW for help immediately.
They need more women now.
They need more women now.
I mean, even if they, like you said, even if they were hitting their stride, they got 4 women who they've been showcasing over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's been these same 4 women.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have I'm going to say the same thing I say about the WWE. You can't have a division when you have the same 4 women appearing weekly every single week. You're going to need depth. You're going to need creativity. You're going to need to give these women a storyline. Like, I love Shida. I think she's great in the ring, but why am I going to care about Shida and Nyla Rose when there's no story there? Like, what is the story outside that she is the number 1 ranked woman for 7, 8 weeks in a row, 12 weeks in a row, I think they said. Outside that, what is the legitimate gripe there for a story on why we care?
Here's what I know about the women in AEW. Shida's number one contender. Nyla Rose is the champion. Statlander is an alien. Which, by the way, I love Kris Statlander.
So do I. I think she's great. Yeah.
She has great.
Huge
She's
potential.
gonna make it. She's gonna make it. We know that, and we know that Britt Baker is a dentist. That's all we know. There's no story. There's no backstory. There is nothing more. There is nothing more than they can wrestle. Everybody mentioned can wrestle. They can wrestle except Britt. She's working on it, but they can wrestle. But we have no involvement. We have no attachment to them because we know nothing about them. Not enough to care about them, at least. So it's not working.
Well, Shida hit a vertical suplex on Baker. This is the point where she was quote-unquote hurt, so she struggled to get Baker up. Baker must be an absolutely amazing seller at this point because Shida almost botched his vertical suplex. Shida and Statlander suplex Rose into Baker as she sat in the corner. Like I said, Baker crawled to her corner and was examined by the ringside doctor. She appeared to be hurt, but obviously the Observer, like I said, mentioned that this is a storyline and not a legit injury. Statlander hit Rose with a facebuster. Shida hit a missile dropkick for a 2 count. Shida went for the Michinoku driver, but Rose blocked. Rose hit the Beast Bomb on Shida and pinned her as Statlander was unable to make the pinfall save in time. So the champion pinned the challenger on Saturday's pay-per-view. This could be a situation, Jesse. I mean, I don't think AEW has any other choice but to make this decision. They're not building up Shida as the number one contender for 12 weeks to ultimately have her lose. I do think that Rose getting the win here kind of gives way to maybe Shida winning on Saturday.
I don't think so.
No?
No. Putting the title on Shida
they put
right
a
now,
lot of effort into Hikaru Shida in the time that Rose has been away. I find it very confusing if they don't give Shida the championship.
They putting the title on Shida right now is kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul, if that makes any sense. Because they take the title off of Nyla and put it on Shida, and what does it do? If anything, Nyla has more charisma than Shida does.
I agree. I agree completely. But this is the way I'm thinking. I'm thinking about what we've seen previously on AEW television. Out of all the women's matches that we've seen on television, the one match that I think stands out of everything that they've done so far, minus the Riho matches with Nyla, those were decent. I'm glad we haven't seen Riho in a while. But the one thing that I say we do here is give the title to Shida, have Shida hold it till the next pay-per-view, and build Britt Baker up, and we get that rematch from the Bloody Mouth incident in Georgia a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, and we get a rematch where Britt Baker is built up as the number one contender, and she battles Hikaru Shida. That has been a somewhat decent feud over the Women's Championship, and I much rather see that than Britt Baker go up against Nyla Rose. That would be like watching someone that we don't like go up against Nia Jax in WWE for the Women's Championship. It'd be awful.
Why are we putting Britt Baker anywhere near the title right now? We just both agreed that she's not there yet.
Put your bias, put your hatred aside for Britt Baker and realize this is happening. They are going to push her to the Women's Championship.
No, I am thinking about. I am seriously. I mean, all personal feelings aside, why would they put the title on Britt Baker right now? Everybody can see that she's not where they want her to be yet. And not only that, where do they go from there? You put the title on Shida to what? Hold it for a month to give it to Britt Baker? They'd be better off building up Nyla Rose. Let her run through Shida, let her run through Baker, let her run through whoever else they have left. So when they finally get a big time signing to bring them in, they can have that person come in and beat the dominant champion and give that person credibility rather than sitting there and passing the title to Shida and to Britt Baker. And then where does it go from there? To the last of the four? To give it to Statlander next? It makes no sense. Let it stay right there until they have someone better than what they have right now.
This whole division seems lost. It really does. I mean, I get what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying 100%. I think I even said that in the past, but I'm looking at things now, and Nyla Rose has been away. They built up Shida. I just find it very difficult to believe that they're not going to give it to Shida, and I do think that Shida and Baker is the match that I think they would opt to go with instead of giving it to Nyla Rose and Britt Baker.
I'm not opposed to giving it to Shida. It's fine. But if they want to do that, then she needs to chase for a little bit more. And during that chase, they need to make us care about her a little bit more. Because they put the title on her now just for being a great wrestler with zero charisma. They might as well give it back to the God damn it, what's her name? I forgot her name already. The last champion.
Oh, Riho.
Riho. God damn it. They might as well have left it on Riho. I mean, there is literally no difference. I mean, just leave it there. I mean, if you start hot potatoing that title now, it will mean less than what it means right now. Don't give it to Shida and then have her lose it to a lesser of a wrestler in Britt Baker, and then who takes it from her? Give it back to Nyla? What are we doing here?
So you mean to tell me you don't want them to Titus the title?
No. I mean, right now, not unfortunately, because she's doing great. Nyla Rose is doing great. She needs to hold on and just be the Brock Lesnar of the women's division, as far as I'm concerned, until they come up with someone who is in a better position to be champion than that. It needs to be a babyface. Whoever she loses to needs to be an over babyface. And giving it to Shida just so we can get it on Britt Baker makes zero sense for the credibility of that title. They gave Nyla new entrances. They gave her a new look. They're prepared to keep her champion for a while, as they should.
I agree with you. I'm just giving some alternative options here. That's how I would do it. But we'll see what happens. Maybe they add some new talent to the division, and maybe whatever Jesse and I have stated here is thrown out the window, and we go in a completely new direction, because that's exactly what they need to do. That should be their main priority, getting some new talent in that women's division. After the match, Rose pulled out a table from under the ring, slid it in the ring. She set it up, and she put Shida on the table. Statlander knocked Nyla off balance. Shida then recovered, got up, superplexed Nyla Rose through the table. That was, I don't know if you've seen that spot, Jesse, but that was another scary-looking spot. It looked like Nyla went through the table, but Shida hit the back of her head on the table. Yeah, I did see that. That was ugly. Very. So that was that in building towards their match on Saturday night. Backstage, Marvez interviewed Jon Moxley. Moxley said, in sports and business and life, everything gets reduced to violence eventually. He said it only gets worse from here. For Brody, I have a feeling it's going to get pretty bad at Double or Nothing on Sunday. He predicted a paradigm shift will put Brody to sleep on Saturday. He said he'll lose his match and whatever power he thinks he has over the creepy dudes in gimp masks. It was nice knowing you. And that's the way he ended the promo. We go on from that into Shawn Spears, who's got a new segment on Dynamite called SSN, the Shawn Spears Network, or Shawn Spears News. That aired. I had glimpses of Monday Night Raw running through my head with this one, but he actually pulled it off pretty decently here. This was not like the Street Profits doing SNL skits, I will tell you that. He smiled like a fake news anchor, then reported Dustin Rhodes, at the request of family and friends, has decided to retire. He then he actually agreed with his decision and applauded and congratulated him. He said, it's good Dustin has understood his time has come. He said retirement is a difficult pill to swallow, but from what he understands 12 years ago, swallowing pills wasn't difficult for him. Burn. He said he is upset. He doesn't have a match on Saturday. He asked who he has to piss off here. He said maybe he has to go into business for himself, so he challenged Dustin to a match at Double or Nothing. He said now people expect and demand this match, and the AEW brass, it's up to you to book and promote it. He said Dustin is on display at a nearby museum if you want to go see him. So that was that. Booked. We got that match booked for Dynamite. What do you think of this SSN network, or Shawn Spears Network News, whatever the fuck he's calling it, by Mr. Shawn Spears?
Yeah, me too. When I first saw it, the first thing came to my mind was, oh god, it has Monday Night Raw written all over this, man. That's not where it went. I mean, he used.
No, he played it off well. He smiled like a dick. He wasn't cheesy.
He put himself over, and he put his feud over, and he challenged. And what was the point of everything? To challenge Justin to a match and to promote a match, and then they just made the match because he's right. Once you mention the match on TV, we expect it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was pretty good. It was an easy way to make a match quickly.
So we moved on from that. We got a glimpse as to what AEW is going to do for the weeks ahead. We got Double or Nothing on Saturday, and they apparently have booked a Battle Royal for next week's Dynamite, and the winner of that Battle Royal, which I'm assuming will open the show next week, The winner of that Battle Royal will challenge for the first match coming out of Double or Nothing, the TNT champion, in the main event of Dynamite next week, so that should be interesting. And then we move on to the main event, Sammy Guevara and Broken Matt Hardy. This one went 12 minutes. This was some good stuff. We got Hardy hitting a twist of fate for a near fall. Matt with a cut on his forehead at this point. Don't know where that came from, but he was bleeding a little bit. Sat up, and he kicked out. Sammy kicked out of the twist of fate. Matt took off Sammy's wrestling shoe at this point and then bit his feet. He had a sock on, thank God. Guevara landed a rising knee strike for a 2 count. Sammy yanked off his sock and then hit a springboard cutter on Matt for a near fall. Sammy then leapt off the top rope with a shooting star press. Hardy lifted his knees up, scored a 2 count with an inside cradle. He then hit another twist of fate for the win. I know, Jesse, you don't like Sammy losing as much as he does on Dynamite. I don't know. I think you said last week he's been getting some wins on Dark, but he did fall with 2 twist of fates tonight, and he still lost. So does that have any effect on them kind of protecting Sammy, even though he was up against Matt Hardy, or is it a situation where you still think he needed the win tonight against Matt Hardy?
I think he needed the win. Don't get me wrong, they booked him strong. He wasn't buried or made to look bad, but his record is close to 500 at this point, and every time we see him, he's talking a whole bunch of trash and losing on TV. I'm seriously getting tired of it. They turned him into a baby face in my eyes. I want to see the guy get a win, for Christ's sakes. He's constantly talking and losing and losing. I want to see him beat the crap out of somebody who has like a full-time job on AEW.
Well, Matt Hardy coming into the company, it's very difficult to book him to lose in any capacity. So I understand their point of view, but it's always, I get what you're saying. It's always Sammy. Like,
don't book the match.
It's never anybody. It's always Sammy taking the L. He's like, I don't want to say it because he's so much far superior than him, but man, he's like AEW's version of Humberto.
He's losing. And don't book the match. Don't book the match. You don't want him losing, don't book him into a match with someone who can't lose. The guy just needs to win on TV, not on Dark. He's like 9-8, I believe, and I think like 7 of his wins all come on Dark.
But this was pretty much the segue to what happened after the match and the big final sell for the pay-per-view. Hardy grabbed a chair at ringside, brought it into the ring. The referee stopped Hardy from using it. Hardy then saw the other Inner Circle members, and they all arrived together at the start of the show, if you guys remember. And they were in the football stadium. They had Kenny captured. Now, Kenny was teaming with Matt Hardy the last couple weeks against the Elites, and they tied Kenny up against the field goal post in the football stadium. Hager threw a bucket of water on him. I don't know what that was for. Maybe they were trying to waterboard Kenny Omega. I don't know. Jericho said that they're going to take him out with a baseball bat. So Jericho smashes the baseball bat against Kenny Omega's ribs. Suddenly, the Young Bucks, both Matt and Nick Jackson, finally returned to Dynamite. They showed up. They leapt out of the stands with a crossbody on both Santana and Ortiz. They went after Hager. Matt hit Jericho with a chair several times. He just appeared out of nowhere. Hardy joined in. They continued to brawl. Ross was explaining that on Saturday the match can end anywhere in a stadium with a pin. Hangman Page also made his return. He sprinted as if he was returning a fucking punt for a touchdown. He came out of nowhere, sprinted downfield. He joined the fight. Brawl continued with Hardy and the Elite getting the better of the Inner Circle, who eventually retreated at the end of this thing. They both yelled at each other from opposite ends of the field. Shivani said it's great to see Page with the Elite after all this time away. And then Hangman Page, again, picking up right where he left off, walked away from the Elite. Very standoffish for Adam Hangman Page. Ross says he feels he did his job and is headed to find a happy hour. If he finds it, please let me know. But in Jacksonville, I'm sure it's a lot easier than where I am. Being the Elite theme song played over the final segment of AEW Dynamite, and I love the fact that they had the Inner Circle on the big scoreboard in the opposite end of the arena, or the stadium, and they had the Elite logo right in the end zone, which was fucking awesome. A great final pitch, a great final sight to end Dynamite tonight. Jesse, it looks like, now I don't know if it's confirmed, but I did read on social media before the show ended that there's going to be 2 rings, and it's going to be in the center of the football field on Saturday night. Is this empty stadium match, is this big stadium stampede going to replace what AEW wanted to do with the Elites and the Inner Circle with Blood and Guts? And is this the final chapter of this feud in AEW for now?
I'm not sure. We were told we were still going to get Blood and Guts when we get live crowds back. So I'm hoping we still will get to see our Blood and Guts when we can. So hopefully this is just an addition to it. They can always revisit this feud when they come when we can. There's nothing saying that we can't. I like how Hangman did his. I thought it was Adrian Peterson coming. That guy did a 100-yard dash down the field. I thought he was gonna be tired by the time he got to the fight. He did it in cowboy boots.
I know. He looked good. Great. I missed him. He's a very integral part of the show. I'm glad he's back.
He's living in the woods.
He's living in the woods. Of course he's living in the woods. I mean, I guess alcohol is an essential business, but where can he go to happy hour? He's depressed. There's no fucking happy hour.
Hey, man. If you watch BTE, you would know the situation. I'm just saying.
Yes, I know. I've missed the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. I got so much other shit going on. But what do you think for the final pitch for the pay-per-view on Saturday? Did this live up to expectations as far as a go-home show go? Because we are definitely hard on the go-home shows and the post-shows. Did this do its job as a go-home show?
It did. And, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily the fact of what they did here made me excited for the pay-per-view. I was already excited for the pay-per-view, and this is just added to it. It did have a little bit of the cheesy way that WWE likes to end their go-home shows, like in the Royal Rumble go-home show. Apparently, you have to fill the ring with 30 people brawling at the end of a go-home show before the Rumble. You know, at the end of a TLC go-home show, everybody has to fight over a ladder. You know, it did kind of have that vibe to it, but the difference here was we got to see the fight on the football field. That's not something that we get to see every day. That's new. So we got a sneak peek at what we're going to see at the pay-per-view. I think that was brilliant. Instead of just having them in the arena and fighting and say, hey, at the pay-per-view, it'll be at the stadium. We're going to show you the stadium. And we're going to show you some of your favorite guys who have not been on TV in a while. And I thought it was brilliantly shot. It was a new look. It's fresh. If I'm not mistaken, we've never seen a wrestling match like that at a football field necessarily, especially an empty one. But, I mean, let's take that back. I guess, you know, all the WrestleManias and football fields are like football stadiums. But it doesn't it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, it doesn't no crowd.
Did that, but yeah, they were not allowed to.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was entirely entertained by the way they ended the show. If I was someone on the fence to see it, when I saw the shot of the field and the Elite, like you said, in the end zone and the Inner Circle on the scoreboard, I would be intrigued to pick it up. I really would. And especially in an era where we're used to just getting our free pay-per-views or getting them for $9.99 a month, now we gotta shell out some bucks to see it. And for me, I was excited enough in this build to not have a problem to give my money to support these guys to do what they do, especially in this time where they really do need our support. That's another thing, guys. If you're watching this right now, the pay-per-view does cost money, and if there's ever a time, if you can afford it, to support these guys, everyone can need it. Everyone can use it right now. So if you can afford it, go ahead and support these guys and buy the pay-per-view.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'll be watching on Saturday. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited for it. You guys can even support them and pick up a t-shirt, 20% off now, AEWshop.com. It's like I'm shilling them, doing their job for them. But, you know, we both mean that wholeheartedly. If there's any time to support what these guys are doing right now, AEW is going to deliver. They have not let us down yet with these pay-per-views. These pay-per-views are in the same vein that Triple H books a takeover show. They never disappoint whatsoever. And with the price tag, you know, Cody is going to give everybody their money's worth, no question. But we will be back live on Saturday. Jesse and I will be back live Saturday. Live. We'll be live as live could be on Saturday for the preview and predictions right here on your Saturday afternoon for your Memorial Day weekend, talking Double or Nothing. We should have a great show. I got a bunch of news articles lined up Going to be a good time, so bring your cold beverages and mark it down on the calendar. It should be good. And other than that, I'll still be back myself with tomorrow's NXT review. I'm going to go watch that now after this is all done here tonight. And then Friday's off the script, and then Friday SmackDown, and then we got Double or Nothing on Saturday. Should be a big day. Jesse, thank you for joining me tonight. Anything else you want to say before we get the hell out of here?
Thanks for having me, everybody. Thanks for watching. Support AEW, support Owen Hart, and again, rest in peace, Shed. And man, it's sad times, man. Sad times. But
tough week, man. We'll get through this together, and it's going to be a great weekend. But thank you guys so much for joining me right here on Off the Script. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Twitter at JDfromNY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. And don't forget Audible. AudibleTrial.com/offthescript for your 30 days free and that one free audiobook of your choice. Guys, I will see you right back here around 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon for your live NXT review. And until then, have a good night. And I will see all of you back here for more AEW content on Saturday, talking Double or Nothing. See you guys later.